The Ron and Fez Show live, 866-277-4969. I'm sorry to tell you, no Merlin basketball tonight.
Oh, man.
We have knocked them off tonight, but hopefully we'll get them back by next Monday night.
I needed my Turk fix.
That almost sounds like they're going to start more rumors about you when you say that. All right, we ended the show last night, Fez, with you once again with a tinfoil hat on and claiming another conspiracy. Now, I've been seeing this conspiracy talk all over the internet since we were on the Christmas break.
Yeah, what happened was Donald Rumsfeld, he made his Christmas visit to the troops in Iraq, and while he was addressing the troops on Christmas Eve, he was talking about the terrorist attacks that we've suffered in this country on 9/11. And then he specifically brought up Flight 93 and mentioned that it was shot down over Pennsylvania, which is not what we've been told before, Ronnie. It was, that the passengers struggled with the terrorists, and that's how the plane was brought down.
So now there's all these websites of conspiracy nuts who this is their proof. They're not saying that Rumsfeld made a mistake. Their point is he finally told the truth, and he slipped.
Yeah, slip of the tongue, not where it was a mistake, but he slipped out with really what happened. And I tend to believe this. I think we did shoot it down.
Now, don't you think, I know that you're one of those Michael Moores, the media, the big media is out to get us and they're in cahoots with the government. But you don't think there's one legitimate news source in this country that if this was any kind of a real story would go after it?
I've never seen the news media coward to any sort of administration like they have this one, Ronnie. I think they're scared to death of this administration. You had the CBS News president go to the White House this past week on a peacemaking mission. Can't we just get along? Sorry about that whole Dan Rather 60 Minutes thing.
I'm telling you, Fez, you're not the same Republican I used to know. You've turned into one of these online people who think that everything that happens, somehow our government is tied up in it.
I didn't trust this government last year. I'm certainly not going to start in 2005.
All right, it's one thing to go, I don't trust those guys. It's another thing to go, we would shoot down our own plane and then not tell the country about it. Because my point is this, number one, I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that. I think if you would have came out and said, look, that plane, there was no way to save those people. It was heading into Washington. We did what we had to do. I think it would actually make us look a little more aggressive to terrorists out there and let them know that we don't play games.
See, I think that I agree with you there. The public would totally accept it. I think what has the White House nervous is, to add to the theory, I think Dick Cheney ordered this plane down while the president was zigzagging across the country in Air Force One, and I don't think that makes our president look very tough against the terrorists, that the vice president stepped in, and it just fuels the rumors that Cheney's running the government anyway.
Well, look, also he was all locked up reading that book. I mean, he was a very busy guy that day.
My Little Goat?
Yes. You saw the look on his face. It took everything he had.
He said the worst thing about 9/11 was he didn't find out what happened to the goat.
All right, I'm going to open the phones up for this because I'll tell you why. The emails come to my house from all of our tinfoil hat friends, one after another. I can't believe it's starting to seem to me more people believe in conspiracies than believe in the news and believe in their own government. And I'm starting to think you're all turning wacko on me.
No, I think finally we're all just seeing the truth. We're seeing the law. My eyes are open for the first time ever, Ronnie.
I don't know. I feel like you're playing a character right now. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think that you're playing a character. I really don't believe that you believe this.
Oh, I totally believe this.
Brett, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Brett.
Brett, how are you?
Good. I think the reason they haven't shot it down or said that they shot it down is because of the whole Let's Roll campaign that came through with the Americans fighting the terrorists back.
Well, I mean, the time to have told the truth was that day. But don't you think, even if you think that the government would have shot the plane down, you don't think that there's a single reporter in this country that would have done something about it? I'm reading an email right now from a guy named Box who listens to the show, who thinks that this talk is just bizarre, Fez, just for the very reason that somebody would want to go out there and make a name for themselves. You know what I mean? But this country didn't let Clinton get away with a little hanky-panky. This is a big news story. This is a chance for any reporter, if this was even slightly true, to find himself become a star.
Yeah, and they're all dropping the ball on it. No one has the guts to go after it.
866-277-4969. Dubs, where are you on this?
I totally think he got shot down, and I think the reason why the media hasn't jumped on it is just for the fact that if they are wrong for some reason, then their career is over. You know, it's hard to prove. It's hard to prove it was shot down.
All you got to do is find the proof. That's what a reporter would have to do. And there's got to be people who know. And if there was, Jenny Q goes, "Oh, I'm one of the online people." Yes, you're one of the crazy online people. Here is Chris. Chris, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron and Fez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm convinced that we're shot down. There was close to an 8-mile debris field that was in that Shanksville crash, which suggests that the plane came apart in midair and at relatively high altitude.
You know, you guys are acting like we didn't have the 911 Commission go through everything that happened with a fine-tooth comb. You're willing to say people on both sides of the aisle, Fez, are lying to the American public, and then all the news media have joined into this.
Yes, I am. Yep.
That doesn't even make sense. They're going to come and lock you up one of these days. You're going to sound like Oliver Stone, just as crazy as a loon. Jason, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, they said there was a plane that crashed into the Pentagon, but where was the plane? They never found the plane.
All right, Fez, you join on part of this other crazy thing now, and people are also saying, and there's website after website devoted to the fact of saying that a missile hit the Pentagon. It wasn't a plane.
No, that one I believe a plane did hit the Pentagon.
Here's Matt. Matt, you're on Ron and Fez.
Evening, buddies. First, I must say, welcome back, guys.
It's good to be back.
So, second thing is, Fez, I must say, you better stop now. You're starting to sound a lot like Hefe there.
Yeah, I know. It's starting to become what I call crazy hideout talk. Where now Hefe and Dubs are up way too late at night, and it's one loony conspiracy after another.
I don't have an accent.
Neither does Hefe.
Oh.
But seriously, Fez, how do you make this leap? Is it just distrust? It's a general distrust?
It's mostly the distrust, but everything just seems to fit together. First of all, the slip-up by Rummy. I mean, that's not a slip-up that happens. A slip-up is where you say Southwestern Flight 93 instead of United Flight 93. Or American Airlines Flight 90. That's a slip-up where you mess up some of the technical details. You don't slip up and say a plane was shot down when that's not even came close to what happened.
He also slipped up and said he killed the Peterson girl with his bare hands. Adam, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Fez, I was just wondering, did the plane hit your balls? Because how come your voice sounds like it does?
I have a bit of a cold, thank you. Thank you for your well wishes.
Preston, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hello, I was going to say it is not possible for that plane to have been shot down. All one has to do is look at the debris field. It would not have been machine gun fire. It would have been a missile that took that plane down, and it would have been bodies scattered all around for miles before the plane actually impacted.
Who said machine gun fire?
I'm sorry?
Who mentioned machine gun fire?
He said it would be a missile, and that would have exploded the plane mid-flight. It wasn't. You're not going to use machine gun fire today.
Exactly.
Machine gun fire, he's saying, would be the old days when you would shoot the plane and it would catch on fire and go down. He's saying with a missile, you would have blown the tail off or one of the wings, and parts of the plane would have ended up miles and miles apart. Will, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, I thought for a second maybe this was Coast to Coast AM or something.
It's starting to sound that way, but here's what's weird about it. On Coast to Coast AM, where it's the overnight kind of ghost story shows that they do on AM radio, it's been around for a long time. Now I'm getting this kind of talk from people I know, people like Fez, friends of ours, and they visit these websites, and they're just completely locked in. Their whole kind of anti-government anti-media thing has gotten him like Fez, where he's almost agoraphobic right now.
I don't put anything above this White House. I don't think they're above suspicion on anything.
I read this stuff just, for amusement purposes. Some of these conspiracy things are just, they're kind of a little out there, and so they're fun to read. But, I mean, the main point I wanted to raise was the point about the information and where it's coming from. It's got to be, people really should be saying where they're getting this information from, what website, who the source is, things like that. And then when you guys brought up the 9/11 Commission, where did they get their information from? They got it from the FAA. They got it from the Department of Defense. So
there's got to be somebody, Fezzi, that would jump out and say, yeah, there's some truth to this. You've got to also say to yourself, you've got to start and level out a little bit. You've got to level yourself.
With the 9/11 Commission, this did come up with Cheney, and it went back and forth over who had the order to shoot a plane down if it came to that.
Yeah.
And that story, they kept stepping on each other's toes there, tripping over each other with who did have the right.
Robert, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, pals, how's it going?
Good.
I work for the NTSB, and I tell you what, I couldn't disagree more with one of your previous callers, because what he mentioned with regard to machine gun fire versus a missile, that's all nonsense, because simply the fact that the debris field was spread over eight miles makes it indicative of a plane that was coming apart in flight, not a plane that augured in at some steep angle as a result of a radical change in its vector. So I couldn't agree or disagree with whether it was shot down, but the evidence surely points to the plane coming apart in flight.
All right, so having said that, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't CBS, the New York Times, CNN, somebody have at least a couple reporters who go, look, I'm not buying this story, and I'm going to chase it down?
I think, maybe because it's just damage control at this point. They want to maintain the patriotic inertia, and they want people to feel like exactly what one of your previous callers mentioned, is that, we don't want to, say that what they did was for nothing, that these people, these poor citizens on board were acted in vain. So maybe they feel like it was in the best interest of the country not to bring this to light. I don't know whether it was shot down or not. I can't say, but I can definitely tell you that it looks like it might have been.
All right, 866-277-4969. I would be shocked if, let's say, the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, all said to themselves, hey, it's better for the country to lie to them than for us to break the truth. And if these websites are coming up with this information, I can't believe that people at all those news organizations also haven't looked for it. And I think if there was any kind of story at all, they would have followed it.
You know what? I wish they would have. This thing came out with Rummy saying it. I don't know if the only follow-up on that was, it was a slip of the tongue. He misspoke. And everyone said, okay, fine.
He's a crazy old man. We all know that. We're not fighting that part of it, that he's a crazy old man. We agree. He doesn't sit down at work. He has a standing desk, which I've never heard of anyone but a bank teller having a standing desk.
I can't work at a podium.
Mike, you're on. Yeah, I know. I've seen you, and you're just awful at it. Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron and Fez. How you doing? My name's Mike. I got 15 years in the service, and I've been using machine guns, for about a good 10 years. I'm pretty much an expert at this point. I'll tell you right now, it had to be a machine gun that took that plane down. And I'll tell you another thing. I'll tell you, when that plane went down, for God's sakes, when it went down, it probably went right in the Fez's goddamn.
All right. Yeah. Here's Sharon.
That was coming.
Sharon, you're on Ron and Fez, yeah.
Hey, Ron and Fez.
New phone screeners. Remember the email we also got about how quality, not quantity.
I gotta start typing some of these things up and just putting them on big signs throughout the studio.
Here's Sharon, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, hey, Ron and Fez. Yeah, a coworker of mine back then happened to talk to some military guys that he knew, and they said that it was shot down because they had found out that it was headed for Camp David in Thurmont, so they didn't want Camp David to get blown up.
Well, I mean, I could understand that, and that would make perfect sense to me to say, if we can't have this plane become a weapon. And I can't think of a single American who would disagree with that. So I don't think that this would be some kind of a bad story. I don't think on 9/11, if we heard, hey, this thing was going to go into D.C. or, a school, whatever the hell it was going to go, we had to take it down. We all would have went, yes, we understand completely. I can't imagine anybody not saying that would be a good idea.
We would all understand that, except that the pride in that White House, the arrogance there, it's going to be an Alexander Haig situation when Ronald Reagan was shot. I'm in charge here.
To me, Fezzi, you sound like a guy who didn't get his big, long-faced candidate in the White House. So now you're going to sit around making accusations for the next 4 years with nothing to go by. Learn to adapt. We're all Americans here. Not everybody wins every election. Then you all pull back together. That's where we are right now. Mark, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how's it going? I just want to call and agree with the conspiracy theory thing.
Yeah.
I remember back then, and when 9/11 actually was happening, watching CNN and people saying that they were reporting hearing sonic booms and things. And during that time, they're speculating, well, maybe these are planes coming from, Ohio or something to intercept that plane.
There's no doubt that we put fighter planes on the tail. I don't doubt that for a second. Mm-hmm. There was plenty of time to do that. That doesn't mean that those same fighter planes who were pulling up next to this thing, keeping an eye on it, shot it down.
There was almost 50 minutes when they realized that this plane was off course. This plane was hijacked, between the Pentagon attack and when they realized that this plane was off course.
Right, but you agree
or a crash.
You agree that's a huge leap to go those same fighter jets shot it down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you. So then you're wrong.
I think I've come up with a new conspiracy.
What's that?
That plane wasn't hijacked and they still shot it down.
They just shot down anything.
Yeah, they were scared. And that's why they're coming out with it.
Well, bro, they've had people on the plane calling home. That all happened.
I don't know.
The Todd Beamer stuff is all real.
Wait, I'm telling you I know. You don't even have to look into this, Stubbs. Patrick, you're on Ron Fez.
Hey, a couple things. The black box tapes, they were never released. There's no information out there other than the limited stuff about the Todd Beamer, about Let's Roll. There's very few pieces of information out there. And the timeline, it's not that I'm not certain I believe in it, but I've got a younger brother who is far more educated than I, and he's got conspiracy theory all over this. If you've got 50 minutes to find an airplane that you know is out there, there's no doubt that they found it. And if they thought for an instant it was heading to Washington, they'd shoot it down, and they would just say that it went into the ground itself.
No, they would shoot it down, and then the story would come out, and then we would all agree that had to be done. I don't know one person who would think it would be a bad idea to shoot down a plane that was going to be used as a weapon against the country. And that makes perfect sense. And if it happened tomorrow, we'd all say the same thing.
And there was data recorder information released, and that was the first time that the government came out and said, you know what, we don't think that those passengers made it into the cockpit. They think that it was the hijackers that lost control of the plane. And people got really upset about that.
Here's Ron, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron and Fez.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that the 9/11 Commission stated that the fighter jets couldn't be scrambled in time, that they were coming from too far away. I'm not sure if that's true, but that was what I got into this argument with somebody else, and they told me that. Also, we're assuming a plane, it could be like ground-based anti-aircraft from Camp David that could have taken it out potentially.
All right, thank you very much. But, you guys are just coming up with your theories of things that could have possibly happened. And I agree, all of these things could have possibly happened. My point is this, if any of them happened, we would have known about it by now. That this would have been far too big for everybody in the government to go along and everybody in the news media. That you wouldn't have somebody go, you know what, I'm working at New York Times and they won't let me put this story out, so I quit. We don't have one credible person, but this damn internet, which I'm now starting to believe is the worst things that happen to people's minds. It's turning them to jelly.
I think it's happened in the past. That TWA Flight 800, they got shot down leaving New York.
Do you want to stay with one crazy conspiracy theory at a time? Or do you want to become the nutty guy like Mel Gibson and they're chasing you all over the place because finally you hit one?
I don't want to be nutty guy.
And do you want to go out and make some kind of crazy movie about Christ that's got everybody weirded out and it's anti-Semitic? I don't want you going that way, Fez. And already with that beard, you look like one of the Smith brothers. And you got me freaked out.
That's just mean.
Joe. Joe, you're on Fez.
How you doing, man?
Right.
I got big issues with the clampdown on information coming out of the White House. I particularly the way they coach reporters. I was watching on television, might have been like CNN or something like that, where Rumsfeld is actually talking to reporters, suggesting how they spin stories. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't do that. Why are reporters sitting there eating this stuff up? Don't we have minds anymore? I mean, do we have to just sit and just play robots? It's getting
what
ridiculous.
you're saying is, are we not men? We are Devo. Now all you guys are saying that Devo actually became true. All right, we're going to take a break. And I don't want to drink anything that you're drinking, Fez. I don't want to smoke anything that you're smoking because you've turned into a lunatic in front of my eyes.
I haven't taken a thing.
Ever?
Not even cold med. No. Not ever.
Because I know for a fact ever you have.
Not in the past week.
All right, well, take a break. I'm going to probably put Fez in a cold shower and try to get him talking sensible again. We'll be right back. It is the Ron and Fez Show. It's the Ron and Fez Show. Just hanging out tonight. A lot to get to tonight, Fezzy. We're going to have a doctor on that's going to talk about the flu vaccine. And I thought we'd do the bad guest gimmick on him. And he'll get some quick calls from Iris and Andre the Giant, whatever crazy character Crazy Jen worked out for herself. So that'll either be real funny or just a cluster F, and we'll end up hating us for it.
And the doctor will get a dose of his own medicine.
Speaking of cluster F, I don't know whether you watched the Jay Leno rocking in the New Year, whatever he calls it. There were so many rocking in the New Year's this year.
Everyone was rocking.
Yeah, I went Snoop. I had to go straight Snoop Dogg, Green Day. Say yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah.
When Green Day brought Snoop onto their set and he had nothing to say.
Yeah.
Say Green Day.
Yeah, I know. That went on for 15 minutes. You know, but he looks good doing it. So apparently, Jay Leno, he rocked in the New Year with Motley Crue. And I guess right after midnight, Vince Neil yelled to Happy Effing New Year. So it'll be interesting to see if the FCC jumps into this.
Yeah, where's Big Chin's fine?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
You think it should be blamed on him?
Yeah, definitely. His show needs the broadcaster in charge.
But the interesting thing was, Fezzy, the Republic held together over it, and nobody was killed because the F word got off on one of only 4 stations. I believe it's not allowed to be on television.
I like it when it happens to someone like Jay Leno, who's so apple pie and so clean cut, trying so hard to be so milquetoast, and then it happens to him. I'm surprised he didn't just faint and the Big Chin hit the stage right then and there. He'll probably never go live again. Amber Fry, she's making the rounds with this book of hers.
I'm seeing her on every single promo that's out there.
Now, one of the things in her new book is she says, I still think about Scott Peterson from time to time, and I wonder, does he still think about me?
I'm going to tell you something, Amber. He's in prison. He's thinking about every broad he's ever nailed, who sat next to on a plane, dated in high school. There's no woman he's not thinking about right now.
She's still got that death row crush that goes on with some women.
Well, she's making her money right now. She's it's all about the Benjamins for Miss Amber Fry.
She's crying on cue too. I've seen clips of some of these interviews where I was so scared, and then she just does the Niagara Falls bit.
What were you scared about? That you wired yourself against your boyfriend?
Yeah, that he was coming for her.
Yeah.
That he was going to kill her.
Yeah, I know.
You got the wrong one, Scott.
I'm only hoping he's got a brother. you know,
Lloyd Peterson.
I never blamed this woman at all until she started making money for doing it. And I think that looks cheap, and it also looks cheap for all the news people to have this chick on. I mean, it would be one thing for us to do it, but basically, they should be above this. Here's Ron. Ron, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, look, there's 5 people in the media whose opinions that I respect very highly, and that's you guys, Bill O'Reilly, Howard Stern, and the Grease Man. But anybody that thinks that that plane was shot down is as crazy as Bin Laden. There were people on their cell phones talking to people on the ground.
Fezzy, people were on their cell phones. What do you say about that?
I understand they're in their cell phones.
And
that
if a missile hit that plane, people would have heard it. The explosion would have been heard. You know, and people think that George Bush administration is a bunch of liars. Bush didn't lie to anybody about weapons of mass destruction. He just relayed messages from people he got that were over there. He was never there.
He just made a mistake. Yeah, he didn't.
Right.
He didn't.
We could be hit within 45 minutes. That's what I heard his Secretary of State say.
See, now you've spread it out and you're making it even wider. And I see, Fezzy got an agenda. Your Fezzy Agenda 2005.
They set the agenda, Ronnie. I'm just following it.
I don't even know what that means.
Me neither, but I thought it would sound good and we could just move on.
It doesn't. It doesn't sound good. Sandy, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, how you doing, guys? I'm going through a tunnel. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. I just want to say that I'm not going to name this person's name nor what military branch they're in, but I have a good friend in the military, and after 9/11 happened, this person told me that they came across the facts at work, which they probably weren't supposed to see, but that it said that we grounded that plane.
All right, you know what? I have a good friend in the military. I can't give you his name, and he said we didn't. So there it is. We each have a good friend. We just made up seconds ago.
We're back to square one now. We're even.
We might be, but, you know, my opinion is I don't take away anything, the travesty, what happened to those people on the plane, the suffering of their families, but if we did, you know, that's okay if we took that plane down, because had that plane been intended for...
Yes, we all agree with that. The point is, if it would have happened, we would have known by now. That's the point of it. And you can't believe every crazy website out there. And the problem is... and I don't know what this is. The people just don't believe in the government is one thing, not to believe in the media. But now they've turned it around, and they think of any bad thing that they can have. They have what I call the Fez Whatleys, where you and every other chicken head out there are just believing any weird conspiracy that you can.
On this one, I'm just going by the Secretary of Defense and what he told the troops.
You know he made a mistake, and that's a long flight, and he probably... had a couple on the plane. You've never made a mistake before?
I've made a mistake, but
I'll tell you when you put that shirt with that T-shirt. It was a vast mistake.
Right now, I'm at the point where I'm just grabbing things that fit in any combo.
You're the only gay guy I ever met that really doesn't care what he looks like.
It could be because I'm a big hetero.
Well, you may not be gay, but you're definitely not hetero. I'm going to say that. And I'm just going to leave.
What's left?
I don't know. But that's what I want to figure out in 2005. And I think when you do, we're all going to be happier. And we can put this thing behind us. You all right, bro?
Got a little cough.
You know, I was watching some news show the other day where a woman was hacking and coughing while she's doing the news. I never saw it happen before. Yeah. Ryan, you're on a Fez.
You just said chicken head.
Oh, yes, I did. And I normally do. And that's the big-ass word of the day. And there we go. You're going into the big-ass prize closet. Congratulations. I forgot about that. Chicken head wins, Fez.
You're talking about the lady coughing on the air.
Yes, I was.
I'll tell you what. I tried watching that Good Morning America today, and that is unwatchable. And I turned that on because I can't watch Today's Show anymore.
Why can't you watch that?
Because they're hideous, too. There is nothing good to watch in the morning.
Why don't you go to one of your crazy websites?
Or Cold Pizza.
What?
I haven't tried Cold Pizza.
I've watched it. You're really desperate for sports news at 6:45. It's actually, I would say, better than the Mike and Mike ESPN 2 show, where they just are furious about something that happened in sports. T.O. should be knocked out of the league. They just constantly want people out of leagues.
On Good Morning America, Charlie Gibson actually came back from break and said, Gibson here. Like he's Seacrest out. What the hell? Gibson here. Then he moderates the presidential debate?
All right, you want to get even worse, go to our company, the CBS Morning Show. There's like 8 people on there with nowhere to go. And they've got a real wacky weatherman now who, like, I've seen him lift, like, viewers and carry them around and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
And Charlie Gibson, he did this very somber story. You can tell it's somber when he's Charles Gibson.
Yes. And then he'll also put the bifocals on the very end of his... I want to read some important papers here, Gibson.
He's so wise. He had on these people, and they were missing friends and family in the tsunami area.
Yeah.
Very serious and everything. And he gets his real low voice of, our thoughts are with you. And they throw it to weather. The weatherman, they go out of this story to the weatherman outside, whatever his name is.
He's the happy black guy.
Yeah, and happy black guy can't quit laughing. He's there yucking it up with the crowd.
Well,
and I'm like, I understand what you do, but don't put those two things right next to each other.
And in his defense, he didn't know it was Charlie Gibson. He thought it was Bob Gibson, the old pitcher. The Hall of Fame pitcher, and he was excited just to be with them.
And this guy was laughing so hard at something he didn't even tell us about that he could barely do the weather.
So you've become a TV critic. Not just a critic of the Bush administration and big media, but all television. You're Tom Shales now. You're like Tom Shales with a big Lincoln beard.
And it's all bad. That's what I'm putting out there.
You know what you ought to do is go to Blockbuster and pick up some videos in the morning. Watch The Paper Chase. I'm sure that's something that's highfalutin enough for you.
They don't make shows like that anymore.
What is it like? That armchair of yours has become a throne where you are sitting on the top of Mount Media Olympus looking down on everybody.
All I want is people to take their jobs seriously.
And you're saying that today's show doesn't?
No, they don't. They're insane over there. And if I hear Katie Couric talk about her colon one more time...
I love hearing about it. I can't get enough of that. That's my favorite time. I'll TiVo it when she has pictures of it.
Yeah, the problem is that it's, already territory discovered. You don't really want to go there now.
So you want a new part of her body?
Yeah.
A pancreas? What do you want?
Kind of breast exam?
Yeah.
You know what I do like on Good Morning America is the news with Robin Roberts.
Oh, yeah, I keep expecting her to go to basketball scores.
I know. The whole thing about her, she walks like a girl gym teacher.
Oh, you got the one lady on the Today Show. When she does the news, Curry, she's so very serious. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Katie. Then when they let her go sit on the couch with other fat, black, happy weatherman, then she's just nuts. It's like, come on, people.
Well, she has her news hat, and then she has her fun co-host hat.
It ought to be one hat. Don't put on your big scary voice to try to scare us with the news.
Maybe not everyone's as perfect as you, Fez. I don't know what happened.
They talked about that Matt Lauer being up for the Dan Rather Anchorman job.
Yeah.
I could never get my evening news from someone that I have seen dressed as Paris Hilton and J-Lo over the years.
Since you got this beard, do you think you're Lincoln now? Is that it?
I'm not thinking I'm Lincoln.
Because you're stinking. Like Lincoln. I think you've been drinking, Lincoln.
Speaking of conspiracies, I was reading this one thing over the break about Lincoln being gay.
Was it Lincoln or you?
No, it was Lincoln.
Should we get quiet for a moment and let you tell us what you have to in 2005? Because I just want you to say, and let's get it out of the way.
Well, I have nothing to say other than President Lincoln may have been gay. They said he shared a bed with a man quite often.
What man? What are you reading? Is this another website?
I don't know where I read this one. I'll find it for you.
What is this, dishonestabe.com? Here's Rob. Rob, you're around a Fez.
Hey, do you think, Katie Couric could show more of her legs every day?
I love it. I think she's got muscular little legs.
Those legs look like she should be out there, powerlifting or something like that.
I got no problem with it. I think they look fantastic. Rob, I want you to tell me the truth. You say you wouldn't hit it?
Oh, no. I wouldn't pass that up. But this morning, man, she had this skirt. You'd see, I'm surprised we didn't see underwear.
Much like
Oh, she wasn't wearing it.
You know, one of the CBS people is Julie Chen, Big Brother's Julie Chen.
Right.
She does the CBS morning show. I don't know whether you know this. She married Les Moonves, the big boss.
Oh, I knew they were seeing each other. I didn't know they tied the knot.
Yeah, they tied the knot is what they did. So how do you get to keep your gig then? That'd be like you if your dream of finally marrying Michael Hughes. Do you think it would be fair for you to stay here working?
I think I could be impartial.
Or would you want to be home keeping a beautiful house for him?
That would be my first instinct.
Oh, Michael!
Mrs. Fez Hughes. Fez Marie Hughes.
They would then call you Huge Fez Hughes.
Rude and rude!
He's used and huge.
Watley-Hughes.
Oh.
Does Julie Chen dress on the morning show like she does on Big Brother?
Yeah.
In some sort of
camel toe?
Attack of the Titans. I'm in a toga.
Yeah, she's glamorous. She's a beautiful girl. Woman. Whatever I just say.
I didn't know if she just saved those fancy outfits, those cocktail dresses for Big Brother, if she wears that every morning when she jumps in a vat of glitter.
First of all, she's glamorous, and second of all, she can get anybody fired in this company that she wants.
She's Julie Moonves.
Yeah, that would be great if she comes to me. Hi, I'm Julie Moonves. Nick, you're on Fez.
Yeah, hey guys, I just want to give Mr. Hetero Fez here a little credit. I mean, yeah, conspiracy theorists are outlandish at times, but I mean, who's to say that everyone who eats up everything the government says them is just as crazy? I mean,
I'm going to tell you why, and this will be the last time I tell you, because somebody with some credibility would have stood up by now. Somebody in the military, somebody in the government, somebody in the news organizations. This is too damn big.
Well, it's also too damn harmful is what you got to consider. I mean, think of the implications if someone speaks up. Some of the lesser stuff going on. I mean, look at what Tony Blair's getting from his government for speaking up, and it comes out that his intelligence.
Yes, but there would have to be at least one person who said, I can't go along with a lie. I think we can all agree to that. Between the military, the government, and the big news media, we'd have one shining knight out there who says, I'm tired of the lies.
I would wish.
But
I don't think we have any more knights in shining armor.
What about Julie Moonves? She would be perfect for this.
She's shining, but that's only because of all the body glitter she puts on.
And she's Julie Moon-Vez. That's her angle on it. Here's Mike. Mike, you're on Fez.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
What's up, Mike?
Well, three things. One, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Two, kick-ass Jay Giles band music. I haven't heard that stuff in years.
Yeah, I know. It's cool stuff. I got a box set for Christmas.
Oh, that's great. I used to have the Bloodshot album, the red vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that disappeared with the rest of my stuff. Anyway.
I don't know whether any of this stuff ever even made it to CD. It might still be on vinyl.
I don't think much of it is on CD, to be honest with you. I haven't really looked for it, but that old stuff really wasn't all that popular.
Well, you know what? But the stuff that did get popular, I didn't like as much. And that's when you say Jay Giles, and they go, oh, that Love Stinks, I'm not a big fan. But there's really early stuff that was really great.
I like Centerfold.
See, that's why I can't stand you.
Well,
and I know you say it to annoy.
No, I do.
Stubbs, look at him and tell me that's not his I'm trying to annoy face.
As long as they were on with BMI, I think they sucked on. But
whatever. Your two was going on and on. So let's go do a quick three
to make up for the long two.
You're right. All right. So you think it's a bit of a coincidence that people on their cell phones were saying we're going to rush the cockpit just as the missiles hit the plane?
Yeah, I'm not buying any of this story. I see it more as Fez, crazy as a loon, sitting up there on his internet with a tinfoil hat on because he's afraid the government is somehow going to put some kind of waves into his brain.
I thought he wore that because it helps the reception with his dial-up.
Yeah, I know. He does still have dial-up.
I'm going to change that in the new year as soon as I find some time.
Is that going to be your thing? You're going to find
my resolution.
And then the other resolution is come out of the closet. And let's just forget.
What?
Seriously.
What closet?
Whatever closet you're in. I'm going to just say this. At least in 2005, you pick a side. How about in 2005 you say to us, here's my significant other. I've made a decision.
My significant other is my fiance in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada.
That bit worked years ago, Fezzi, but it's just beat. It's just beat. You're at least going to have to come up with a new one, because I can't deal. I'm doing what somebody in the government would do, and say I can't be part of the charade anymore. I must stop. Mike, you're on Manifest.
I chase chicks.
Catch one. Yes, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, hey, guys. 10794 checking in.
Oh, that's cool.
Ah, thank you. Speaking about the news programs where, you get happy to sad and everything, what about those morning programs where they have the windows in the background and people are all happy to be on TV regardless of what they're talking about,
I don't even get that. They sit outside in the freezing cold sometimes with signs that say, like, I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah. And then they go to them. Like, here it is, it's a news program, and they walk over to these people and start talking to them.
The one I did find interesting today was the woman outside of GMA who said she was related to Diane Sawyer. And they asked her how they're related, and they're like third cousins, twice removed, and she's never met Diane Sawyer.
You know what? If you haven't met that person and you're an adult, you're not related to them. You've got to know. If it's your relative, you know by the time you're 4.
Right.
Not later in life.
You've seen them at a picnic.
Yes.
You've gotten a card from them at some point.
Your mom has said something awful about their dad. That makes you related.
The lady said they were related like through great-great-grandparents.
You know what? If we all go back far enough, we're all related. Adam and Eve. You could go back a lot. Then why don't you go, I'm related to the Queen Elizabeth and Jack Nicholson. If you go back far enough, we're all related.
And then it was great because Diane Sawyer just got up and wiped her butt across the window at her. And then wouldn't even talk to her.
Well, she's married to Mike Nichols, the fabulous director of the film Closer, who had the opportunity to have a very nude Natalie Portman, has it on tape or on film, filmed it, and then said, I just can't do this to her. And so I'm wondering, how many millions of dollars do you think that cost him and people that would have went to the movie Closer? Every 17, 18-year-old fan of Star Wars would have shown up at that film.
What was interesting was he was willing to do it to her for himself. He got to see it. He's sitting there yelling, let's try that again.
So you honestly think back in his house there's a couple of rolls of tape that he just keeps him and Diane Sawyer are looking at while they're making out at night?
Yes, and to them it was worth that millions of dollars.
I would have put it out there, even if I felt awful about it. I felt like I owed it to the studio.
He's willing to put her through it to make her have her film it, and but not willing to put her through it.
I don't know what that means, but
release it.
Did you see the film?
No.
It looked like she was very comfortable. I didn't see her looking like she was uncomfortable and a G-string and pasties. All right, we're going to take a break. Lots coming up tonight, Fez. It is the Ron and Fez Show.